Let's speak to Dr. Yusuf Suleimana. He is the technical advisor to the Ministry of Energy. Doc, good evening or good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us on Weekend Central. Now, given Ghana's existing thermal generation capacity, what specific long-term energy security gaps does the ministry expect this 1,200 megawatt thermal plant to address?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, Aisha, and to your cherished viewers and listeners in Ghana and across the globe. Indeed, that is phenomenal. Aisha, if you notice in recent times, we've been mentioning a strategy we call gas to power, or what we're trying to link up the petroleum sector to the power sector, where the petroleum sector will be in a position to be able to support the power and rolled out. And that is something that Aisha, if you notice, Ghana has potential as far as the gas production is concerned. And then we have over the years had opportunities lost in utilizing this gas or optimizing the utilization of this gas to the maximum, capacity possible. And so to be able to use the gas, about 150 come from both the Jubilee field and OTCV, that's the ENI fields, to champion power generation. I think it's going to be a huge, an excellent addition to Ghana's our energy security in the long run. Bear in mind, if you look at our peak demand, sometimes we can hover around 3,500, 3,600. And we hit, in recent time, we could hit 4,000 megawatts. And so if we have about 1,200 megawatts adding to the pool, it is going to be a huge. It will create power stability. It will boost industrialization, and we can be in a position to export power or to increase the opportunity to export power to our neighboring countries. This power generation, we are going to spare investment into the energy sector. Into the gas sector. If you notice, the finance minister mentioned from this year, just the last 10, we've been able to increase gas production to about 50 million standard cubic feet per day. And what is that? We just created an enabling environment that spare this investment into the field and then the ENI fields. And so, yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. This at the end of the day, Aisha.
The concerns that other people are raising is how reliable the gas supply from this OCTP and Jubilee is going to be for this plant.
Yeah, so all indications are that why we think it's going to be reliable is the appetite, the investor appetite in these areas. Like I mentioned, if you notice, in just the last 10 months, we have investment pledges up to 3.5 billion. We have 2 billion coming from our Jubilee partners, and we have 1.5 billion coming from our OCTP, that's the ENI partners. And so if you have these pledges, and then even before the pledges, we already added about 50 into the stream. So, and if you're able to do this and be consistent, I think we're going to be able to increase the consistency in the supply of this gas into our power generation areas. And also, if you notice, we have in the making a second gas processing plant coming. What is normally happening is that why this investment within the upstream is being constrained is because sometimes there's no offtake. So the fact that government alongside this power plant is championing what we call GPP2, second gas processing plant, is going to be ready offtake of this gas when it is produced. And that will catalyze, investment drive within the sector. So like I mentioned, what has mostly constrained this investment is that the players are saying that, okay, if I produce this gas, who's going to take it? Now we have guaranteed power plant that is going to come. We have guaranteed GPP2 that is going to come. So these guarantees of this, power pool in terms of the gas processing plant and the potential for we to be able to generate, to put a power plant to be able to offtake this gas, it will spare investment into the sector. Apart from the fact that we have created this enabling environment that is driving huge investment and huge investor appetite into the sector. So yes, Aisha, there will be guaranteed reliability because of this appetite that upstream players are showing into investment into the sector in terms of the power generation.
Also, what financing model is government going to be using? And then how is fiscal risk going to be managed?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we are considering a combination of factors. We are considering private, definitely we're going to have private sector participation. But this time, government is taking the bite. Government is taking a step to, to have a huge stake, like this power plant and probably the gas processing plant also. We're going to have a huge government stake in it. The reason why sometimes government doesn't want to just holistically take up every because of the burden. And so also if private sector partner with the government in championing this project, there's guaranteed efficiency within the sector. So yes, we're looking at private sector PPP, but with a huge government involvement in these areas. So the fact that environment, private sector guarantee turn on their investment, I think we light at the end of the tunnel. We are looking at models like bio, all these models are things that we are looking at. But what I can say is that government is taking a huge interest in these areas, and we should not be afraid. The important thing is just the efficiency. That once we can guarantee efficiency, like what is happening, and transparency, government investing money or from a fund that is under control, that is controlled by government, as long as we can guarantee there is an investment. And one other thing that I would like to mention is that most of these projects that we are talking about, the gas processing plant and then the power plant, actually they are bankable. For the gas processing plant, like, apart from the gas, we're going to increase what we call the natural gas liquid. And most of this plant, natural gas liquid, they are more than enough to even pay off the cost of, the capex or of the project in record time, without even the gas. So with all this in play, with the bankability of this project, and if you look at the power sector also, the megawatts coming, we have utilized for that, and we have potential to export that. So investors are looking at, and this appetite, and this kind of things is going to drive investment into the sector. And I think already having a huge or phenomenon of people showing interest within the sectors that I talked about, in addition to massive investment interest within the upstream sector, Aisha.
Right, Doc, before I let you go, tell us how soon this 1,200 megawatt plant will come on stream.
Yeah, so if you listen to the finance minister, there's going to be a lot of action within 2026. In fact, it's going to match the construction of this gas plant. It's going to match, the ramp up of E&I production in terms of the production. So this, I can say that probably getting to before the end of 2026, hopefully we can have some and for the power plant. But finance minister clearly indicated that by the beginning of 2026, it's going to start, and that is what we work with. But I can say that if you look at the gas profile for Jubilee and Tenfield, we are giving ourselves up to the third to fourth quarter to ramp up production within the Jubilee field. And bear in mind, the Jubilee field, I mentioned Jubilee field is going to feed the GPP2. OCTP field also is a lot of to be able to formalize the whole process to increase the production. The good thing is that it's friendly and the players are so to invest into the sector. And I think there's light at the end of the tunnel in these areas, Aisha.
Well, Doc, we will be keeping an eye on that. Thank you very much for those details. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, he's a technical advisor to the Ministry of Energy. Moving on, fuel prices are expected to rise across palms from Saturday, November 16 to 2025. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers (COPEC) has announced, citing increasing global crude prices. In a statement signed by the Executive Secretary, Duncan Amwa, COPEC projected that petrol prices will increase by about 3.38%, moving from an average of 12.18 cedis to 12.59 per litre. Diesel, the statement noted, could see a much sharper jump of 9.81%, rising from 12.49 to 13.71 per litre. Let's now turn our attention to Sudan. This afternoon, Sudanese nationals living in Ghana have taken to the streets of Accra to protest the inhumane killing of their compatriots in ongoing war, a civil war in Sudan. Sudanese ambassador to Ghana, Gabriela Kadir Ali, took a swipe at the African Union and the United Nations for their failure to intervene in the massacre and other heinous crimes committed against their compatriots. Now, thousands more people have been fleeing their homes in Sudan as fighting intensified between the army and the RSF in central Kordofan region, deepening a conflict that has already displaced 14 million. It is estimated that around 120,000 people have been killed since the conflict erupted in 2023, when the Sudanese armed forces and the RSF began battling for power following the ousting of longtime ruler Omar al-Bashir. My colleague Stanley Niblo is the one covering this protest and has joined us via phone. Stanley, good afternoon to you. Tell us, how can you describe the scale and atmosphere of today's protest in Accra?
So, Aisha, you could really tell that the Sudanese nationals, especially those living in the diaspora, Ghana to be specific, for them, they've been overwhelmed by the situation ongoing at home, especially where the militia, the RSF, which is the Rapid Support Forces, had to be battling with the government forces. So actually, let me take you back to 2019 to actually understand where they've come from till now. So in 2019, they actually ousted their longest serving president, which is Omar al-Bashir, who also came to power in 1989 through a military coup d'etat. And then after he was overthrown or ousted from power, a joint government was formed. A civilian military government was formed. But that government also did not stand the test of time. And in 2021, there was another coup that ousted the joint government. And the one that actually spearheaded that coup d'etat is the current president of the Sudan, who has been also recognized by the United Nations. So while he was in the military, serving as a general, his deputy also then, because there was a struggle for power and supremacy, he also tilted towards the rebel side, and then he joined to do business with the Rapid Support Forces. And in 2023, 15th April 2023, then the exchange of gunfire started between the two forces, opposing forces, which is the militia group and then the government forces. As I speak,
Stanley,
the militia has...
Stanley, I feel like we should turn our attention to the protest. Did you speak to any of the protesters? What were the demands they were making? Why are they hitting the streets?
For the Sudanese nationals in Ghana, what they are seeking to do with this protest that actually happened earlier in the day has to do with the fact that they wanted international body, especially they wanted the whole civil war that is actually maiming people and killing people and had actually displaced a lot of their compatriots who had actually fled to neighboring countries. They wanted the African Union to actually lead the charge and lead the charge to broker peace between the rebel forces and then the government forces as well. For them, the United Nations and then the African Union, they seem to be working behind the back door to get solution. But for the ambassador, the Sudanese ambassador to Ghana, when I spoke to him, he said the effort that they are putting in to actually broker peace between the militia and the rebel forces are not enough. And so it is about time that they actually re-strategize and reposition themselves to approach this civil war that is ongoing and killing people in Sudan with a new approach, and then make sure that they stoke in more fire to ensure that the international community come in to support them to broker peace.
Right.
The organizations, specifically the regional organizations, they are not doing enough effort to help Sudan, bringing lasting peace in Sudan. specifically the AU, because in Sudan we always believe in the slogan that we say African solutions to African problems. But the AU till now, they are trying, to sit with the government, and they are trying to find a solution, but it's not enough effort. Other organizations like UN also, I think the last heinous events which happened in El Fasher in October 26 make many organizations, including the UN and the AU, all of them, they condemn the RSF for their crimes in Al Fasher, which still going on in Al Fasher. But we believe that the efforts which have been conducted by the AU and other organizations is not quite enough. We are looking for more solidarity, quick movement to help the people of Sudan achieving the last peace in Sudan.
Would you urge that Sudan should...
Words cannot be enough to describe exactly what is happening, but all what we know is a genocide going on right in Sudan, especially in Darfur, specifically in Al Fasher, that people have been starved for 3 months, and they've been also stopped from movement, stopped from working. Kids, over millions of them, they've been also stopped from going to school. And for that, as Sudanese outside here, the only thing we can do now is our voices that can demand freedom for those who are not, those who are lacking it in their own country, and peace as well, and women, children, that they are always there, kids being killed in front of them, and also they've been raped by the militia, that they're practicing their own things and the other world are silent.
Well, Stanley, we've heard from the protesters and the ambassador as well, but did you get any indications of support from local government?
Yes, so the ambassador actually acknowledged the fact that he actually showed appreciation to the government of Ghana and the president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for actually rendering support to his country in October this year. And for them, they wanted more of such support for their members who had actually been displaced, especially those in Al Fasher, where the rebel forces actually took charge of the whole province in October last year, 26th October last year. And so they wanted more.
Thank you very much, Stanley, for those updates. The Stanley Niblo is my colleague here at Media General. Now, poor education infrastructure is affecting academic activities at Kompiani Basic School in the Wa East District of the Upper West Region. Correspondent Ibrahim Wangara reports that pupils are camped in a mass structure trying to learn amidst harsh conditions.
What other thing do we use for?
Kompiani DA Basic School has a student population of 120. Children face an uphill battle each day to acquire education, one that no child should have to endure, as basic needs have become a luxury. An incomplete church building houses learners in Basic 1, 2, and 3. Pupils in Basic 4 and 5 are housed in a self-initiated math structure. A worried head teacher, Yuonsun Domasus, says the situation is affecting teaching and learning.
You see, first of all, there are 2 classes inside there. The problem is that the curriculum is not the same, but we are forced to now blend the curriculum.
Mahmoud Salfadin teaches Basic 4 and 5 pupils. He shared his frustrations about providing education under these circumstances.
Combining the classes is very hard for you to be able to translate your lessons very well for them to understand, because there are some of them, their IQ is a little different, but you have to take a subject, all of them have to go with that. There are P4 and P5 and 6. So it is problem. When it's raining, for instance, you cannot teach.
Members of the community are appealing for urgent intervention. Tuoma Munturo Francis is the community leader.
We need a proper place that when it is raining or anything, but the student can be able to learn. But this one is no good for learning. Even when it is the dry season like this, the place will be too hot for them to learn.
As the school year draws to a close, the absence of classrooms for Basic 6 and 7 paint a grim picture, one that suggests that without immediate action, countless children will face a future devoid of opportunity.
So currently, if we are unable to build another structure or get another place, that means after Basic 6, we have to allow the kids to take transfer into other schools. The local authorities are aware.
Adamu Shaibu is the Wa East District Chief Executive.
We are trying to reverse this trend as early as possible. As we progress into 2016, we'll see how we'll bring Compiègne on board so that we can give some special attention to Compiègne.
The challenges faced by Compiègne DA Basic School is similar to several rural schools across the country, grappling with inadequate infrastructure to aid effective teaching and learning. During the presentation of the 2026 budget statement on Thursday, November 13, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesil Atoforsen, announced major investments in the basic education. The government intends to construct 200 new junior high schools, 200 new primary schools, and 200 new kindergartens across the country. As teachers and pupils await the fulfillment of this pledge, the teachers and pupils of Compiègne DA Basic School are hoping support will come in soon. Ibrahim Wangara, TV3 News, Compiègne.
Also in the news this afternoon, the Minister for Chieftaincy, Local Government and Religious Affairs is urging traditional leaders and residents in the Bono East region to participate in the Small Arms Amnesty Program. The initiative by the Ministry of Interior is designed to curb small arms proliferation that is fueling insecurity across the country.
The proliferation of small arms has been linked to gun-related attacks across the country. The gun amnesty by the Ministry of Interior is meant to encourage people to voluntarily surrender their guns and ammunition within a given time frame. The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, urged residents in the Bono East region to take advantage of the program.
The presence and the proliferation of small arms has become a nuisance to the peace of the country. Nananum themselves made a clear remark about how some kids are being shot. So clearly, the gun amnesty is to make sure that people voluntarily surrender their guns and ammunitions, those that are registered and those that are illegal. And there is a time limit. If people are able to comply, fine. By after the expiration of the amnesty, I think certain rigorous actions will be taken. So the earlier you did voluntary amnesty or voluntary surrender, the better.
The minister also reiterated that the ministry is working actively to modernize the legal administrative framework for local governance and traditional rule.
We are also reviewing the Chieftaincy Act. There's a committee formed to make sure that they do that. I also informed Nanano about the presence of a committee which should see to the elevation of some of the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies into municipal and metropolitan status.
The Bono East Regional Minister reminded traditional leaders to resort to proper legal procedures to resolve issues.
They should make sure they follow rules and orders in the country. They shouldn't resort to violence. They shouldn't resort to the holding of guns to solve problems. But they should use proper legal procedures to solve issues. This is my plea to Nananum.
The president of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs called for judicial intervention to curb chieftaincy disputes that have plagued the region for years.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of the Interior has commenced a trainer of trainers to prepare security agencies for the rollout of a nationwide gun amnesty program aimed at reducing the proliferation of illicit small arms.
Officers from the training will be deployed across the regions to support the implementation of the program. Deputy Minister for Interior Ebenezer Okliti-Telabi said the initiative forms part of government's efforts to address rising gun-related violence.
As part of efforts to strengthen arms control in the country, the proposed National Arms Bill, which will effectively regulate the arms space, is in its final stages and will soon be sent to the Attorney General.
He cited armed robberies, land and chieftaincy disputes, youth violence and misuse of firearms during traditional festivals as major threats to national security. He assured the public under the gun amnesty program, individuals who surrender unlicensed and illegal firearms will not be arrested or prosecuted. He urged trainees to conduct themselves professionally to build public confidence in the exercise. Executive Secretary of National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona, described the amnesty as one of Ghana's most comprehensive disarmament efforts.
There have been amnesties upon amnesties since independence, but I will tell you, without mixing that, probably this will be the most elaborate amnesty program. I'm sure police officers, you know, some of you will have said maybe 30 years, 25 years, you will have heard about amnesty, but this is the first time we are bringing you in to be trained with regards to how these things must be done.
Dr. Bona added that the initiative will complement ongoing legislative reforms, including the finalization of a new national arms bill, and is crucial for reducing illicit weapons in circulation. Participants are expected to serve as regional resource persons, working with district security councils, traditional leaders and civil society groups to encourage voluntary surrender of firearms during the amnesty window. The ministry says the amnesty will be followed by a strict enforcement phase targeting individuals who fail to comply.
This is Weekend Central live here on TV3. We'll be right back with some more news. Stay with us. has now become one of the most prized delicacies in Ghana. From roadside grills to high-end restaurants, its smoky aroma and rich, meaty texture is winning over consumers who are willing to pay nearly double the price of tilapia. Beatrice Ajokosoa has more in the following report.
Traditionally, tilapia has been the star of Ghanaian cuisine, but today, tastes are shifting towards catfish. At bustling markets and roadside eateries, customers are spending between 180 Ghana cedis and 200 Ghana cedis for a single catfish, compared to tilapia, which sells for around 80 Ghana cedis, depending on location. Restaurateur Benedicta says her restaurant initially sold tilapia, but after switching to catfish, business soared.
As for me, I prefer the catfish. Yes. The tilapia is very spicy, though, but the catfish there, 10 over 10. Since we started the catfish, you can say is going more than the tilapia.
Catfish farmer Xavier Abochi describes the business as lucrative but risky. The 35-year-old explained that he traveled to Nigeria to learn the trade, where catfish farming is a booming industry. Today, his ponds yield profits of up to 15,000 Ghana cedis, a testament to the growing demand.
It has really saved me from going out to hunt for jobs, doing manual works and then order. I used to be an Uber driver, and then comparing the Uber, although I had cars that were working for me at that time, but comparing then and now, I think I'm far better off with this than being in the Uber years back. Let's say on a ton, I can make like 13 to 15,000 on a ton. That's within 4 to 5 months, depending on the sizes that I get.
Xavier also encourages young people to consider catfish farming as a viable livelihood.
If you have the capital and then you want to go into this business, you have to be trained very well. You have to know the risks involved in doing this, because if you don't take care, you can lose everything in a day.
While tilapia has long been a favorite for some Ghanaians, it is clear that catfish is challenging tilapia's dominance and reshaping culinary trends across Ghana, carving out a stronger place in the market.
For all the best to catfish lovers, I cannot stand the sight of catfish. Let's move on to some more stories. A major sanitation and security concern has plagued the Ayaloloba station at the Kimbu terminal for almost 10 months. A group of men claiming to represent the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has occupied sections of the station. Station authorities say repeated attempts to seek clarification from the AMA have yielded no response. Dawa Aguzo visited the terminal and filed this report.
Officials recall 10 months ago, some individuals arrived claiming to be assigned by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to manage portions of the station's operations. The activities have since attracted kayaye, junkies and drug addicts who are now occupying part of the station to help workers offload goods from Togo.
About 10 months ago, when the new NDC now coming again, the party boys going around. Whatever they see that, okay, this place is an institution or it's an organization, who previous government, they have been using their people, they'll just take you or chase you out. Then they took over. The same thing happened in Zayalolo terminal here. So when they took over, I put some of them, asked them, you people, where do you come in from? Formally, they say they have been empowered by AMA boss. Later on, they say, okay, they were powered by assemblyman of this area.
The area has become dirty, with some individuals sleeping, bathing and attending nature school openly around the facility. The situation has also led to a rise in theft, which station officials and drivers say is directly linked to the presence of these unauthorized occupants.
Because of the Togo loads that they were brought to the yard, that brings all these junkie boys and the weed smokers to this yard. And as we are speaking now, you see the dirty, the mess up, they eat themselves, sleep here, stolen, smoking weed, even up to the extent that some of them sleeping with women in the yard, inside the yard here. Our problem is how this business is going on is affecting our daily goods operations. So we are reading that all this tobacco business and all that should be ended for us to get our smooth operation for BRT Ayalolo, because the yard is purposely for Ayalolo.
During a visit by the news team, a driver at the station, Ofosu Francis, reported his mobile phone missing, blaming the growing presence of suspected drug addicts around the station.
Akromfo no mo disturb we wa too much. Ena no drivers and conductors wo do phone to ho. Yeah, you din be seconds. Ubehu ase de ene de abefa.
The thieves really disturb us a lot. If you leave something there, you won't come back to meet it. I went to forward the bus after my return from Kaswa. Upon my return, I decided to go and eat. Within some few minutes of going to get food, someone got into the bus and stole my belongings.
Authorities at the bus terminal are calling on the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to state their position on the matter and take decisive action to restore order and sanitation at the facility.
It's now time for Original Hub. Starting off from the Western region, where the Regional National Security Liaison Officer, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, has issued a stern warning to illegal miners operating on the Ankoba River and its banks. He says joint security forces will now conduct persistent day and night patrols along the entire stretch of the river to ultimately restore the Ankoba River to its original state.
During the recent security operation on the Ankoba River near Ampansie in the Evaluadura municipality, personnel from the Western Naval Command and National Security seized a mining cannon loaded with 4 Shamfang machines. The illegal miners had fled the scene upon their arrival, abandoning the equipment. According to the Western Regional National Security Liaison Officer, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, this incident underscores the effectiveness of consistent patrols in safeguarding the river.
As we started today, we were able to seize the big canoe. Apparently, they carried it with shamfines, 4 shamfines, and they were installing it so that they can commence their duties. And we seized them. Unfortunately for us, all the suspects ran away. Then we seized the canoe, and then we seized the 4 shamfines, and then we destroyed about 10 makeshift structures.
He issued a stern warning to illegal miners on the Ankoba that there will be relentless day and night patrols along the entire stretch during the Christmas period. According to him, this sustained security presence is the essential measure to secure the water body and return the Ankoba to health.
We are going to make sure that this Christmas, they don't use the Ankoba to celebrate the Christmas. This is the warning that we have for all of them. What we want to say to all the Galamsey is that now they should not take anything for granted and that they have to stay away. We are going to make sure that all the makeshift stamps along the banks of the Ankoba are cleared and that there will be no makeshift stamp and that we are going to dominate the river day and night so that we make sure that from Pristia down the way where they're cleared.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Ankoba.
And now to the Eastern region, the new Drabing South Municipal Chief Executive Ransford Owusu-Boakye says fixing the municipality's infrastructure deficit is key to boosting socio-economic development. He spoke on the sidelines of a groundbreaking ceremony for a number of projects aimed at improving living standards in the municipality.
An old community health planning services would be replaced with a modern facility at Agavenia to deliver primary health care services. According to the Municipal Health Director, Eunice Ebuaku, projects as this help improve access to quality health care for residents in line with Sustainable Development Goal 4.
We'll bring that one to you quite later. But to the Bono East region now, residents and motorists who use the Kintampo-Tamale Highway is stretched synonymous with fatal road crashes in Ghana will heave a sigh of relief after the sod has been cut for the installation of a new traffic light.
Kintampo-Tamale Highway is a stretch that has witnessed numerous fatal road crashes. In a bid to curtail accidents and protect public safety, authorities have cut the sod for the installation of a new traffic light. Residents and drivers believe this intervention will help curb the frequent and often deadly accidents at the town's main junction. We frequently record crashes here due to the stalled traffic. Even on busy days, it's difficult for people to cross the road. So now that they are fixing the traffic, it will help curb the situation.
Because I say, oh, bad traffic.
Traffic will help a lot because most of the times you have people crossing the road irregularly. We are really grateful because this traffic has been a problem for long. The MC for Kintampo North says the project, when completed, will improve safety on the stretch.
If you want to recount the number of accidents that has happened in this intersection here, when you go to the police station and you take the statistics, you are going to be marveled. And if we have been hungry for traffic lights, that is for 7 good years now. And today we have gotten the opportunity in cutting sod to put up a new traffic light and a modern one, of course. We give all the praises and honor unto His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his NDC government.
The contractor is expected to begin works on the traffic light with immediate effect.
And now, the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson has launched a 9-member committee to tackle the growing HIV crisis in the region. The move follows alarming data showing 1,120 new infections in 2024 alone, with a steady rate of 3 daily cases.
The establishment of the 9-member Regional Committee RECOM of the Ghana AIDS Commission marks a critical step in decentralizing Ghana's national HIV and AIDS response, as mandated by the Ghana AIDS Commission Act 2016, Act 938, and LI 2403 of 2020. It is tasked with accelerating the regional fight against the disease by ensuring inclusive access to prevention, treatment, and care, thereby guaranteeing that no one is left behind. At the inauguration ceremony, the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson, citing data of 1,120 new infections in 2024 and a persistent 5-year trend of approximately 3 new daily cases, was gravely concerned.
New HIV infections remain unacceptably high. The 2024 data from the Ghana AIDS Commission indicated that 1,120 persons were newly infected with HIV in our region, an average of 3 new infections each day. That's most unfortunate. Unfortunately, these high numbers have remained consistent over the last 5 years. I have directed the Regional Technical Coordinator to present the detailed regional figures for our collective appreciation of the magnitude of the task before us.
The Western Regional HIV Coordinator, Dr. Felicia Meyer, reports 449 new HIV cases in the first 9 months of 2025, indicating a rising prevalence. This comes after the Western region was ranked 4th in Ghana in the 2024 estimates, with 24,885 people living with HIV. To combat this, Dr. Ameyer appealed to the public to follow preventive measures, countering the false belief among many youth that HIV is not a real threat.
For the prevalence, we have increased from the Sentinel survey. 2023 was 1.55, and then 2024, we are at Western region at 1.65. So you could see that our prevalence is increasing. And this is because you think that HIV is no longer there. So I want to use this medium to tell the youth that HIV is real, HIV is there, it's still real. It's because of good medications that we have. That is why people who have it are not having the AIDS syndrome. So we plead with the public that we should adhere to the preventive measures.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, 2nd D.
And in the northern region, less than 5 months after a failed attempt to clear traders from the streets of the Tamale Central Business District, the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly is making a second push to restore order in the city center.
On July 2, 2025, the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly undertook a decongestion exercise in the Central Business District to clear traders and other transport operators whose activities were impeding the free flow of traffic. The exercise met serious resistance from the traders. Weeks later, most of the traders have returned to the streets, plunging the business district back into heavy congestion and chaos. The rebound of activities, despite earlier enforcement, has raised questions about the effectiveness of the operation. Some traders have attributed the situation to unemployment, saying they have turned the streets into their business centers.
If I'm well employed, what will I be doing here? I mean, calculate the risk involved in every step taking this market. The assembly to take their weekdays, give us the weekends, or better still, they should employ us.
Another trader, Nimatu, says she has nowhere else to go if the assembly forces her out of her trading space.
If you start us here, what do you want us to do? We don't know any place to go. You want us to go and sit in our house? To fold our hands sitting down like this? Please, we beg you.
In response, the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly has announced that Phase 2 of the decongestion exercise will begin on Monday, November 17.
And now in the weekend market, they somehow betrays the approach. And so once they serve those Saturday, Sunday, the tendency of them spilling over to the next day, it's really the case. We are not getting them off the market, we're only getting them off the pedestrian walkways, the bicycle lanes, and then under the overpass.
The assembly says all persons operating in unauthorized areas, including bicycle lanes and pedestrian walkways, must vacate before the exercise begins.
We really succeeded in getting them off the unauthorized places. But sustainability was what was saddled with some of these challenges. So reviewing the approach and strategies, we're withdrawing our local task force from the monitoring and replacing them with police personnel and interfacing with the military counterparts. So we want to say that we're very sorry that we have to come in full force this time around.
Away from that, the Deputy Interior Minister Ebenezer Oklete-Telabi says equipping young people with hands-on skills is critical to making them self-reliant and entrepreneurial. The legislator made the remarks on the sidelines of an event where he presented startup equipment to hundreds of young women in the Lower Manyakrabo constituency of the Eastern region.
So it is part of the process of empowering the youth so that they become productive. We encourage them to make good use of these machines because it is their future. And it is the future of Lower Manya and the future of our country.
Of course, it fits in perfectly into government's policy for the youth. We are going to monitor what the progress of work of these youth to make sure that they go through the apprenticeship successfully, and then they establish themselves and they work to support Mother Ghana.
I've gotten a machine, and with this machine, I'll be able to achieve a lot.
That's all for Weekend Central this afternoon. You can find more news on 3news.com. My name is Aisha Yakub Khalid. Good afternoon.